Okay, folks, welcome. This is Wager Detective here at Tropicana Sportsbook here in Atlantic City. Let's get into this cap right here as we we take a look into the Saints versus Falcons and what's going on and what this game means. Let's get into the cap. Should be pretty interesting. So in this game, the Saints versus the Falcons, if the Saints win this game, Tampa Bay makes the playoffs. If the Falcons win, Carolina's in the playoffs. That's the implications for this game. Both teams are out of it. Let's get into this cap. So Saints win, Tampa Bay makes the playoffs. The Falcons win, Carolina sneaks into the playoffs. Okay, so the Saints, they're 5-4 their last 9 against the Falcons. 5 over and 4 under in those meetings. Average points per game, 42.2. And between their plus minus in those games, Saints are plus 21 point differential in their last 9 meetings with the Falcons. So they're plus 2.33 points per game in that area. Last 5 for the Saints at the Falcons, they are 3-2, 3 over, 2 unders. The average score is about 45.8 points per game. And the Saints are plus 5 point differential in their last 5 at the Falcons. So they're plus 1 point per game average there, and the average score is about 46. Okay? So, December meetings between the Saints and the Falcons. The Saints are 3-2 in the last 5 December meetings. 1 over and 4 under in those last 5 December meetings. The 2 of those were at the Falcons, and both those games did go under in that regard. Okay, let's take a look at the Falcons. Okay. Oh, and the Saints road December since 2021. They're 8-2 straight up in those games. They're pretty amazing there. So the Saints are 8-2 in their last 10 road December games. Okay, and 3 of those, and against their divisional opponents, they are 1-0, 2-0, 1-0 straight up. Okay, so the Saints are 8-2 in their last 10 road December games. Against the division in that span, they've played their division in those games 5 times. And straight up there, 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, they're 3-2. Okay, in those games. As far as the over-under in those games, in those 10 games, 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, 0-4, 1-4. So 1 over and 4 under in the Saints' last 5 road December games against their division. And again, Saints are 8-2 in their last 10 against their division. Okay, this year the Saints are 2-0 on the road in December. Both those games did go over the total that's set today, which is 43.5. Okay, let's take a look at the Falcons. The Falcons, since 2021, they're 4-5 straight up in home December games, 4 over, 5 under. But this year, they are, in their home December games, they're 1-1, and both those games have gone over. So the splits for both these teams between home and away, both teams are 4 over and 0 under to the total that's set today. If I'm looking at that between the other metrics I looked at, I would say that I do believe that this game does lean towards the under. I don't know why. That's my cap so far as the over-under. Let's get into the Saints here. Okay, they're 6-10 on the year, but man, they've really turned it up. They don't have a great SRS. They're 26th in the NFL there, but Shuck has been playing great for quarterback for them. They did have a negative SOS rating on the year, minus 0.35 there. Kellen Moore has done pretty good. Saints are averaging 18 points per game, 29th in the NFL, and they are giving up 22 points per game, which puts them at 17th in the NFL. If we look at the Saints, 23 in offense, but look at defensively. 23rd in yards, but they're 9th in defensively giving up yards. If we look at first downs, they're 20th in the NFL with 303, but they're 11th in giving up first downs at this point in the season, only giving up 299, puts them 11th best defensively for the Saints in giving up first downs. Passing, they do have 18 touchdowns on the year, 26 best in the NFL, but you look at them, they've only given up 24 passing touchdowns, puts them around the middle of the pack at 14th in the NFL. Let's take a look at time per drive, plays per drive, yards, and points per drive. The Saints are 28th in the NFL in points per drive, 1.63. Okay? But they are a 9th in plays per drive, with 6.36 plays per drive. So they can drive, they could not necessarily move the ball, they get a lot of plays, but when it comes down to it, they're not scoring a lot of points on their drives. If you look at their league ranked defense, they're 12th in the NFL in giving up points per drive with 2.04. Let's take a look at what the Saints have done this year against their opponent. They're on a 4-game winning streak, folks. They're on a 4-game winning streak, and not the toughest of competition, Tampa Bay, Carolina, the Jets, and the Titans, but they are putting up points. They're getting 20-plus points in their last 4 games, and in their last 4 games on defense, they've held opponents under 20 points twice. Let's take a look at what they do. Okay, I want to see. Okay, so let's take a look at. Okay, so look at this. League rank offense. They're 14th in the NFL in third down efficiency, 40.1% conversion rate. But look at that, third best in the NFL in letting teams convert to third down. They're only letting teams convert around 35 times a game. Third best in the NFL. They're dead last in offensive red zone efficiency. They've gotten to the red zone 42 times, only scored 18 touchdowns. And if we look at them league rank defense, they're 12th in the NFL, better than half the league there in giving up red zone touchdowns. I'm going to take a look at their game schedule here. Okay, if we look at what they've done, again, 4 in a row. They have 22 turnovers in the year, 11 interceptions, 11 fumble losses, and that's not going to get it done. You know, they got to be better there. If you look at what they've done, 18 passing touchdowns on the year and only 8 rushing touchdowns for the Saints. So I would think if you're the Saints, you're probably going to look to the draft and probably want to get a running back to take the place of Alvin Kamara, because I don't think he's mind's on football anymore. He's not the back that he used to be. And if I'm the Falcons, that's definitely a deficiency there. They've gone the Saints have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games this year without a rushing touchdown. And if we look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those games in a row without scoring a rushing touchdown. When you become one-dimensional, it's hard to win in the NFL, and they're going to have to be better there. They have, in their last 3 weeks, they do have 5 passing touchdowns, and they do have a rushing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. So starting to pick up a little steam there, maybe, possibly. We look at defensively, what they've done. They have forced 19 turnovers from their opponent, okay? 10 fumble recoveries and 9 interceptions. And what do teams like to do against the Saints? They do have 24 passing touchdowns against them. The Saints have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games without giving up a passing touchdown. And if we look at rushing touchdowns against them, they've only given up 12. They've gone a number of games without giving up a rushing touchdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 games this year where the Saints have not given up a rushing touchdown, which is primarily a strong point for the Falcons with Algier and one of my favorite running backs in the NFL, Bijan Robinson. So let's keep an eye on this game and what they like to do. Let's take a look at their stats. The Saints. Okay, defensively, is anybody standing out here? Okay, they only have 9 interceptions on the year. They do have passes deflected. They got 71, not bad. Sacks, they got 40. They can get pressure on the quarterback, not bad. Tackles for loss, they got 81, 75 quarterback hits. So they can get pressure on the quarterback. And we know that, you know, the Falcons did have a good game last week. I mean, they looked amazing against the Rams, was it? I had the Rams in that game. They think they were getting 7.5. And listen, Cousins, if we know anything else, if he has a good game the next week, you're going to want to keep an eye on him because it could be a problem. He could give up some turnovers in this game. Let's take a look at what the Falcons have done. I would expect Raheem Morris to be fired at the end of this year. If I'm the Falcons, if I'm Arthur Blank, if I'm the GM over in Atlanta, I do believe that Raheem Morris will not be back next year for the Atlanta Falcons. I like Zach Robinson. Not a bad offensive coordinator, not a bad defensive coordinator, but I don't trust Raheem Morris to move the Falcons in the right direction going forward, especially with the talent they got. You don't know who they're going to keep at quarterback. We do know Penix has been injured once again. Do they bring back Kirk Cousins for another year? Look, he might be old, but you look at what the quarterback Rivers did for the Colts, considerably a little bit more up there in age than what Cousins is. Do you give him another chance? We look at what the Falcons have done. They've reeled off 3 straight. Okay, let's take a look at some of their stats this year. A little tougher schedule for the Falcons this year. They're in the plus there at .32, and then SRS, they're 20th in the NFL. So not really nothing to glean there. Offensively, yards, they're 13th in the NFL. They're 14th in giving up yards. Passing touchdowns, they do have 18, puts them at 26th in the NFL, but they've given up 26th passing touchdowns. I expect the Saints to get in the end zone here today. And if we look at rushing touchdowns, you look at it, they got 17 rushing touchdowns, pretty good with Algiers and Bijan, but look at that. They're only given up 11. They've only given up 11 rushing touchdowns on that Falcons defense, puts them 4th best in the NFL. If we look at time per drive, plays per drive, yards per drive, and points per drive, the Falcons are bottom half of the NFL in all those categories, only scoring 1.92 points per game per drive there. If we look at what they've done, let's get into, if we look at their third down conversions, they're 29th in the NFL in converting third down conversions. But once they do get in the red zone, they're pretty efficient, scoring 64% of the time, 30 for 47 there. But defensively, top 15 there and giving up red zone touchdowns. They've allowed their opponents inside the 20 48 times and only given up 26 touchdowns there. All that correlating to what I believe this game to be an under for between the stats for both these teams. I want to take a look at their game schedules. Try to keep this brisk. We're at 12 minutes now. Again, 17 turnovers this year, and their defensive force 21. So they're plus 4 in the turnover department there. Nothing really to glean. They do have 15 interceptions. Could be tough sledding. One turnover can flip this total from an over to an under, and I do expect one of these quarterbacks, if not both, to probably throw an interception here. Stalled drives, field goals, possibly missed field goals that can push that game under. Let's see what they've done. Okay. They have been sacked. Let's take a look at how many times they've been sacked this year. Okay, quarterback for the Falcons have been sacked 22 times this year, and they've sacked their opponents 53 times. Wow. So they're plus 31 sacks on the year. They get pressure on the quarterback, guys. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. 53 sacks against they had 3 last week. And if you look, there hasn't been many games where they haven't gotten a sack. So I expect both these quarterbacks to be under pressure. I expect guys to want to shine defensively. I think points are going to be at a premium. So here at this point in the game, Wager Detective is going to make the call here from his studies. I do lean the under 43.5 being my stronger play on this game. If I had to take a side looking at the metrics, it's hard to go against the Saints, who are 8-2 in their last 10 road December games, and they're 3-2 in their last 5 at the Falcons. I mean, 3.5, you're catching the hook here. I would lean Saints in this game, plus the 3.5. But if I'm looking at this game, I do lean as under 43.5 being my stronger lean on this game between the Saints and the Falcons. So that's going to be the call here at 10:16 a.m. Wager Detective calling under 43.5 in this matchup, divisional matchup down there in Atlanta. Under 43.5, and I do lean Saints as a plus 3.5 dog here. Could possibly win outright in that regard. So that's the call. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe to Wager Detective as he continues his mastery at trying to just be a good capper and getting better and better by the day. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And that's the call. Under 43.5, Wager Detective, stronger lean. Under 43.5 in this Saints-Falcons matchup, January 4th, 2025. This is Wager Detective, signing off.